All right, welcome. So, what fasting can do for you? So, I've made previous videos about fasting, but honestly, they didn't get a lot of views. So, I'm sure you haven't seen them. But I have made videos about fasting up until now. But I've been working on my fasts recently. Not recently, but over the last few months, I've been working on my personal fasts, and I've been working on basically just getting a real understanding of what fasting is, why it's so important, what exactly it can do for you, and how you can utilize it to your advantage, right? So, quickly before we get into the video, I want everyone to go down to the description, click the link, and join the free Skool community at the top. And then you can also scroll down and check out, I have an ebook up there about semen retention, and if you want, you can book a one-on-one coaching call with me, and I can work with you on any of your problems, right? So if you're watching these videos to get help on self-improvement, you can book a call with me, and I can talk specifically to you and give you specific information on what you need to help you move forward. So, yeah, if you're interested in that, go down to the link in the description. Make sure you check out that free Skool community first, and then you can go and also book a coaching call with me if you'd like. But now, so what fasting can actually do for you? So what are the advantages of fasting? What are the benefits of fasting? Why is fasting so important? So fasting is important because of the gut, right? The gut microbiome is basically our health, right? Our ability to be healthy and sustain good health is based on our gut microbiome, as well as our brain. 97% of our brain is actually in our gut, not up here. So most of our brain is in our gut. And so the gut is a very, very important aspect of our overall health and our overall ability to perform. So one of the problems that can happen within the gut is digestion backup, right? So if we are eating a lot of food and we're eating consistently throughout the day, and we're eating from morning until night and right up until the time we go to sleep, and we only really get to fast for those 6 to 8 hours that we're sleeping, depending on how much you're actually sleeping, right? So for most people, you're only fasting for those hours of the night and then never again, right? And so what happens is the body can't fully break down all of the food that you're consuming. And so what it does is it stores it as fat. It's basically just like, I heard the analogy and I really like this one. So it's basically just like paperwork, right? Your body or your stomach, your gut has all of these piles of paperwork that it just doesn't have the time to do yet, because you're piling more paperwork on every minute or every hour that you're eating, right? So it's just throwing all of this paperwork off to the side into a pile on the side. And that file on the side of paperwork of unfinished, unprocessed food, right, that becomes fat on the body. So when we start to gain weight and we don't really know why, right, it can just be because we have digestion backup, where our body isn't given the proper amount of time to digest. And so this is where fasting comes in. Fasting gives us that amount of time. So the other thing is a lack of spare energy. So if we are constantly low on energy, if we are constantly drained, if we are constantly just feeling like low energy, drained, and like we can't get ourselves moving, we can't get ourselves really flowing, and just kind of everything feels like stuck and stagnant and slow, right? So this happens because we have a lack of spare energy, because our body is so focused on digesting this food, right? It is using so much energy to digest all of this food, and you keep putting more food in, and then more food in, and more food in. So it's using basically all of your energy on digestion. And then you don't have any energy left over for your work or anything else that you have to do. So the last thing is actually mental fog and fatigue. So mental fog and fatigue will happen as a result of A, bad diet, and B, not enough fasting or too much food, right? So if we have too much food, our system becomes backed up, and because our gut is backed up, our brain becomes backed up as well, because our gut and our brain are one and the same. And so we end up with this mental fog and fatigue, where we have like this brain fog. Our brains are kind of cloudy, like we can't quite think about what we need to be doing next. And so all of this comes as a result of not fasting. And so the body needs fasting essentially as a cleaning mechanism, right? So you can think of fasting as a cleaning mechanism for your body, right? So you're allowing the body the time to process and break down all of the backed up food that you've been eating over the course of however long it's been since the last time you fasted. If you've never fasted, then your entire life, right? So your entire life you've been building up all of this food in your body that is just not going anywhere, not being processed and not being used and utilized. So fasting is the cure. How do we actually utilize fasting to cure this, right? So one of the things that fasting does for us is it allows the body the time to fully digest all of that food. All right, so whether you're doing intermittent fasting or you're doing a full fast, it gives your body the proper amount of time to digest the food, right? So we will be able to actually fully break down and digest all of that food because the body's not getting more food to work through. So now it can go back and do all of that old paperwork that it's been putting off to the side, right? The next thing is saving energy. So when we fast, we save energy on digestion. And so we then have that energy available to us to use on our business, on our fitness, on whatever we're working on, right? If we're learning, we use it for our learning, right? So we can use that energy throughout our day now because we have that spare energy. We have that extra energy coming in because we're not digesting food all the time. And then cleaning the mind. So as the gut becomes cleaned and cleansed throughout the fast, the mind naturally, as a result, will also become cleaned and cleansed and cleaned and cleansed and healed within the fast, right? So it will clear out the mind. It will clear all of the bullshit, all of the mental fog, all of like the negative self-doubt type thoughts, right? The disease, the infected thoughts, right? And it will clean all of this shit out and allow for a clear and whole picture, right? So it's a clear environment within, a clear, clean, and whole environment within, rather than it being chaotic and hectic and very like dirty and grody and gross, right? Because what happens is our internal world will feel very dark and very gross because there's so much sludge, so much just bad shit, toxins running through our body because we don't give our body enough time to properly break all of this down. All right. So the benefits, right? What are the benefits of fasting? So in my opinion, fasting, like I wished that I could attain a fasted state and maintain a fasted state at all times, right? Because the amount of joy, the amount of energy that I have for my work is just a completely different level, right? So you can see, like, I have a smile on my face when I'm recording because I genuinely love making content, right? But when I'm fasted, it's just like a completely different level, and it's because all of that shit is just cleared out. There's no bullshit in the mind, right? When you're eating a lot and eating a lot of bad foods, right, you start to fill up the mind with bullshit, with thoughts, with negative thoughts, with thoughts in general. I said thoughts, but yeah, thoughts in general, right? So you don't normally have thoughts when you're fasted, right? But you fill it up with all these thoughts, all of these maybe negative thoughts, all of these potentially positive thoughts, and then it becomes a chaotic environment where it almost feels messy, right? But when you're fasted, everything is completely clean and clear. And so what you want to focus on is what you will 100% be able to focus on. And so one of the main benefits is that increased energy and mental clarity, right? So you can focus 100% because your mind is clear and you have energy to put forth onto whatever you're focused on, right? And then so one cool benefit that I really like and that I like to play around with on my fasts is actually the ability to rewire the brain. So the brain can be actually directly rewired within a fasted state. Because you are in a vulnerable state, because your body is in almost a survival state, if you deem anything as unnecessary, right? So if you deem a neural pathway as unnecessary, your body is going to very, very quickly break it down and destroy it and dissolve it, right? Because it is basically removing and purging anything that is dead, any like dead cells, any ineffective cells, any ineffective habits and neural pathways, and it allows you the ability to like really embed new ones as well. So I've explained I've explained the story on the first video I made on fasting, but the first YouTube video I ever made, I made it on a fast, right? I was like 2 days into a 3-day fast, and ever since that day, before that day, I'd never been able to sit down and record YouTube content like that, right? But since that day, because I did it on a fast, I instantly solidified the habit in my mind, and so from that point, I've been able to record as if it's nothing, right? This is an easy habit for me to do when it really shouldn't have been when I was starting off, because it was very, difficult for me to do before that first time. Because I chose to do it on a fast, though, it completely broke all of those mental doubts, right? All of those doubts I had for my ability to do it were completely gone now because I had done it. And so everything that was stopping me from doing it beforehand was completely destroyed within that fast, right? Because it was ineffective and it was causing a struggle, an internal struggle, which costed energy. And because of being on a fast and your body being in survival mode, it doesn't want to expend extra energy, so it's going to cut off and kill off those neural pathways, even if normally it would fight for those neural pathways, because those neural pathways save energy sometimes, right? So those neural pathways may save energy sometimes, but they actually will damage you and harm you if it's causing an internal struggle during a fast. Right? So during the fast, your body wants to completely remove anything that is causing an internal struggle, that is causing a resistance, or is causing extra energy to be wasted and drained, right? So the next thing is discipline and mental strength. So when you are fasting, you are building discipline, you are building mental strength and mental fortitude, because you have to resist the desire to eat food, right? That is what a fast is resisting that desire to eat food. And so you have to really, really learn discipline. And because for me, I don't stop doing the things I have to do when I'm on a fast. So I have to be disciplined enough to push through those things, even while I may feel like shit at certain times, right? A fast isn't all sunshine and rainbows, right? You're not going to feel great the whole time, but you will feel amazing for a lot of the time. And there will also be a lot of times when you don't feel too great, depending on the state of your body, right? Whether you're healthy or not. If you're healthy, you should be able to fast and you will feel perfectly fine the whole fast. If you feel like you are struggling, your body feels like it is dying, right? It is. There's a part of you dying, but that part of you is infected. It is toxic. It is made up of toxins within the body, right? It is made up of all of the negative shit that you've been taking in, whether information that you've been consuming in your mind or food that you've been eating, right? And so it clears all of this shit out, and while doing so, this is a detox process. And so that detox process is what you're feeling like you're dying, right? So the last thing is, it's actually a good way to beat addiction. So if you go on a fast, and just as I said with creating a new habit, if you are intending to break an addiction on the fast, you can actually overcome and override the mental struggle and the mental craving for that drug of choice, right? By overcoming the craving for food and internally dissolving and breaking it down, and breaking down the desire and the craving for that drug of choice that you're trying to beat, right? Because you're on a fast, it will be a much more powerful state to be in, and it will impact your addiction and your mind in a deep way, in a way that actually you can fully overcome and rewire these old addictions and fully move away from them. But key is, you can't fast and then go back to the addiction after the fast. If you go back to the addiction, you will over time undo that process. But if you don't go back to the addiction, you can permanently rewire the brain using that fast and using fasting consistently after that point as well, right? I wouldn't recommend like long fasts more than like, I don't do one more than like every 3 months, right? So you don't do them very often. And like a 7-day fast, if you're going to do something like that, like I'd say once a year, but it really just depends on what you need and what you feel like you need. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is all of the different ways to fast. So what are the different ways to fast? So the first thing is intermittent fasting. So we can fast for 18 hours of the day instead of it being like a full day or a full 3 days or whatever. You basically fast for 16 hours of the day. Fast for 16 hours of the day, and you eat for an 8-hour window, right? So there's an 8-hour window of the day where you're allowed to eat, and then for the rest of the day, you don't have any food at all. And so what this allows you to do is it allows your body time to fully process and break down all of the food. Advantages of this are you actually get all of the nutrients from all the food you're eating. And so for me, I can put on more muscle with less food because I fast in between every time I eat, right? So you can build more muscle because your body's actually utilizing all of the nutrients and all of the food. Next thing is 24-hour fasts. So if you are fasting for 24 hours, this can be like a full reset for your mind and body. You can allow your body time to break down and fully process a lot of food, a lot of this food that's been building up, right? But it's not going to be anything too extreme, right? It'll be difficult for sure, and it'll allow for some mental reset, but it won't be anything crazy. 78-hour fasts are where you can get into maybe like beating an addiction and like rewiring your brain and stuff like that. You'll hit an increase in energy the second day for sure. For me, I definitely notice it. On the second day, I get a big boost of energy. But I also get a crash on the second day towards the end of the day because of being fasted. So it just kind of, you wanna feel that out for yourself, and you wanna kind of feel into whether you're detoxing or whether maybe fasting wasn't the greatest of choices for you to do right now, because that can also be a possibility, right? Fasting isn't for everybody, but it definitely does help, and that's why it's best to discern for yourself whether it's a detox, because it could be your body detoxing, whether it's a detox or if it's just the fact that you weren't ready to fast, right? And so the next one is a 7-day fast. So if you want to fast for a full week, this will be like a full reset for the gut, full reset for the brain, full reset for your whole body, right? So your body will start to your body will actually start to break down and destroy dead cells in order to eat, and it will start basically eating itself, right? And it eats itself, but it starts with all of the bad shit. So it'll start eating away at all of the bad aspects of you, all of the bad parts of you, and start to basically kill off any dead and ineffective cells and neurons, and basically just clearing all of the toxins and all of the bullshit. And it's basically just like a full cleaning and full reset for your entire body, right? And the next thing is a fruit fast. So we can fast by just eating fruits, so nothing but fruit. And this is similar to a fast, but it has slightly different effects. This is better for a detox. So someone who really needs to detox their body, this would be a good option, doing maybe like a 7-day fruit fast instead of like a full 100% fast. But yeah, so there's the fruit fast, and then there's dry fasting. So dry fasting is the same as any of the 24-hour, 7-day fasts, intermittent as well, I guess. I've never heard of anyone doing dry intermittent fasting, but you could do intermittent fasting. But it's basically the same as all of these, except you cannot have water. So most of the time you can drink water with a fast. A dry fast is no water and no food. And this one I wouldn't go too long. Like, you can kind of choose how you want to do it, but I wouldn't go over 3 days. But that's me. I would do your research if you're going to do a dry fast, but I personally wouldn't go for like 3 days. But yeah, so that's all I have for you guys. Yeah, that's it for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something valuable about fasting, and I hope you are interested in maybe trying one for yourself. But if you like self-improvement and you want to see more content, go and click that subscribe button. And if you're still watching, go and join that damn Skool community, right? Go get in the description, join that Skool community. It's completely free. And then, yeah, if you want to work with me one-on-one, go and book that call, and I'll gladly hop on a call with you and help you. But yeah, so that's all I have for you guys. Peace.